Nation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome to the September meeting of the Airport Commission. Could we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Machado.
Here.
Vice Chairman Houston.
Here.
Commissioner Judd.
Here.
Scatini.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Sanseri.
Here.
Martinez.
Here.
And I am here.
We have a full house of commissioners.
Audience two.
Pardon?
We have an audience too.
And an audience.
New faces.
All right, verification of the agenda posting.
The agenda for the Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister meeting of September 27th was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on September 22nd at 10 a.m. for Government Code Section 54954.2.
Okay, on the consent agenda, the approval of the minutes of the Airport Advisory Commission meeting of August the 23rd. Any omissions, corrections, questions? Entertain a motion to...
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yes, sir.
A second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I noticed we had a public input.
I do. Ruth Erickson.
All kinds of comments, I know.
Uh-oh. I'll turn it over.
I hope I don't have the 3-minute thing that I have to keep watching here, since I'm the only one who probably will speak.
Is your microphone on?
Is it? Is it on? Yes, on. Anyway, I don't have to announce myself. I'm sure you know who I am. I have a few things to report or announce. I noticed in the last meeting, Mike talked about the 4th of July, and it was very successful and so on. I just wanted to announce that we had 8 volunteers, even though we didn't have much to do. But we did have 8 volunteers, which I was very happy to see that our people came out. The Mission Village Voice, which is the newspaper of San Juan Bautista, had all the information wrong on the commission, so I called them to change everything to correct it, because it said you were the 4th Thursday of the month at 8 o'clock. So I changed it to what it's supposed to be. The 19th of October, CAL FIRE is coming to speak with Hollister Airmen. If anybody would like to come, 7 o'clock in the meeting room, and I don't know how many of them will be coming, but at least 1 and maybe 2 or 3, and they will discuss what it's like to be a pilot for CAL FIRE, dangers and whatever else. And last but not least, I would like to present this to Mike for your office or the lobby, because these 2 people, Jerry Gabe and John Weatherly, are obviously very important to the airport since they're both mentioned at the airport. So this is for you.
I'll come. I'd like to thank all the little people that made this possible.
And last but not least, I don't know whether you did adjourn at one meeting in honor of Jim Laws, but I would hope that you could do it tonight if you haven't done so. Jim Laws was a very important person at the airport, and also he has a street named after him at the airport. He passed away, he was 100. So perhaps you could do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Okay, reports. Airport Improvement Program Rehabilitation Runway 13-31, Phase 117.
So we have had 3 meetings scheduled about that in the last month. Of that, one of them happened to about 70% success. One of them fell apart at the last second, and we had one get to 100% success recently. So where we're at is a final demand letter is being prepared for the contractor. Should be done this week, and then the contractor is going to be given a short amount of time to perform, at which point we are proceeding. That's the last I heard from the legal, so that's where that's at.
When was it originally
When was
paved or whatever?
this project happened 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And then the other thing we did was we met with our expert who has agreed to our proposed solution to the problem, which if the contractor does not perform what he's supposed to do, will be to go out there and put a cap over it that's going to hold it together.
Question, who's the contractor?
The contractor's Don Shaping Company.
Okay, thank you.
Now, is the cap, that is a solution?
It's a solution. What is supposed to happen is the defective layers need to be removed. Fortunately, the defective layers are on the bottom. So to get to the defective layers, you have to go through some so-so layers. So if the contractor is going to do it per spec, he has to go through and remove all the way down to the base rock and effectively start over. We are not required to perform to that level because of where the problem is and because of the weights that are affecting that end of the runway and everything else. Our expert who wrote the specs for the FAA says that if we add 1.5 inches of asphalt on top at spec, it'll be good enough to hold it together for the 20-year design life. Or in this case, 17.5-year design life.
So at that end of the runway, the majority of the airplanes are in the air?
Yeah, the tankers aren't going to be loaded down there. They'll be in the air and gone. That's the number one concern. And then there's also no one really going down there on a hot day to line up and take off. So there's not a fully loaded fueled G5 sitting there on hot asphalt for a long time. The only time they're there is when they land and then they're taxiing off. So the stress loads on the asphalt are totally different than the 3-1 end.
This would be from Delta on?
Yeah.
About halfway between Delta and Echo.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If putting 1.5 inch thick cap on this is acceptable, if we're doing the work, if the contractor proposes to do that, wouldn't?
We can't modify the spec. We'd be modifying the spec at that point and voiding the FAA grant.
So we would get no money from the FAA then to do this?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Okay, Airport Improvement Program, Airport Layout Plan, 18 ALP update.
This last month has been a busy one on that. There's been a flurry of emails back and forth between our planner at the the airport district office, the ADO. She's required some changes. They've made the changes, so that is all progressing nicely. Our changes were incorporated, so I think we're looking at a final submittal next month.
Any questions?
Is that just the text part of this thing, right? Not the layout plan itself?
The plan is effectively the same. The FAA has asked us to change the order that projects occur in, and the FAA has required the realignment of the ends of 3.1, 2.4, and 6 to be accelerated in our schedule. They've always been on the schedule as out there, but the FAA wants that as a priority. So we are making that adjustment to make that the priority, but it's the same picture.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Right. C, building improvement restaurant, Old Navy Brig.
Contract was signed with an electrician to do the wiring. As far as I know, he's supposed to show up any day and start getting the electrical done. As soon as the electrical's done, we have to go in and jackhammer out the entire kitchen floor. We're just going to remove the whole thing, change out the plumbing, because the plumbing's almost 100 years old, cast iron and full of problems. And just go ahead and change it all out, put in the necessary cleanouts to make servicing it easy. The reason why we have to do it is we have to put the proper floor drains in and the proper floor tile in the kitchen in the health department wants. So that tile is about that thick, so we literally need to lower the concrete by that much so we don't have a step up into the kitchen or anything. So all that will take place over this winter. So we should be in good shape here in a few months.
Have we had any interest in the restaurant, or?
There's been a couple nibbles, but as soon as they see the conditions it's in, they run. So
There's no
we've got to
kitchen,
get the electrical fixed.
Yeah.
there's no kitchen equipment in there, right?
There's nothing in there.
So if a tenant, entrepreneur wanted to do it, they have to purchase equipment.
Yes.
Yeah. Question, Mr. Chairman. What is the budget on this thing running? How is that just coming out of the airport fund as you need it?
We budget a little bit each year to do it. This year we budgeted $20,000, and we're nowhere near it. So
Good, okay.
So do we roll over the residue from the year before?
no.
You said we won't touch the 20, probably?
No. We will touch the 20. I'm telling you, we haven't spent $20,000 this year on it yet.
Any other questions on the restaurant?
If, excuse me, if you don't exceed that 20,000, would there be more appropriations next year?
Depends on if we decide to do more work or not. So we did the roof. That was last year.
Okay.
This year we're doing the electrical. There should be enough room that we can take care of the kitchen floor. And then after that, there's a little bit of plumbing left, and that's it. So I'm hoping this year we're going to be able to wrap it up.
Okay, thank you.
In the plumbing, are we going to be able to take it all the way out to the connection in the street, or would that be an additional project?
We will take it out to the connection right outside the wall that I replaced in the past.
Okay.
Because we replaced it, it's all new, well, not new, it's about 3 years old, from the edge of the building out to the street.
Okay.
I did that already. So we'll be taking it from there into the kitchen. So it will all be,
All be new?
Yeah.
As of 3 years ago?
yeah.
Okay.
I got a question. Can you hear me now?
Huh?
What about the restrooms?
We hope to be able to, they are ADA compliant. We did have them inspected. They just need to be redone. The doors have a gap at the bottom. We want to put new doors on. We need a paint in there. I want to change the lighting in there. But as far as the turning circle, which is your critical thing, your 5-foot diameter turning circle for a wheelchair, it meets, it has we're in compliance. So we'll have to put the grab bars at the right heights and stuff like that, because they move those every 2 inches every year, just so we have something to do. But I'm not too worried about the restroom. It's the kitchen plumbing and the floor that is the one that's worrying me at this point.
Use the restroom
How brave are you? No, well, they're locked. They haven't been serviced in months. If we serviced them, yeah, they're fine.
Any other questions? All right. 7D, Automated Weather Observing System, AWOS, base station upgrade.
Yeah, so the AWAS broke about a month ago. It's been an absolute nightmare. So the motherboard died. And of course, you can't get a new motherboard. So I had to take an emergency appropriation to council, which they appropriated. And we have to buy a whole new system, a whole new CPU. And I think it was 16,000, right?
I thought it was 13.
It was a 13? So it actually shows up tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Oh, they moved it up.
I moved it up. I said they could deliver it in a truck and not mail it. So they're bringing it down tomorrow at 10 a.m. So hopefully by the end of tomorrow, the NOTAM will be gone and we will have weather reports once again.
What's the life expectancy?
Well, let's see. When did we get the old one? It was about 2000.
2002, something like that.
So we got about 15 years out of the old one.
That's not bad for electronics.
Yeah. I think we had to replace the hard drive twice and the power unit once, but other than that, we kept it going. So,
If
So
I could-
who
if I can-
utilizes it?
I'm sorry?
Who utilizes the system?
Any pilot?
It's just for pilots?
Yes. Well, anybody who goes on our website and looks up the weather at the airport's using it too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the local weather services also use it.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
And it's available nationwide on the ADDS system. It's the weather report is one of probably several thousand across the country, and the data is recorded and kept in an archive somewhere. And NOAA, I'm sure, uses these things in refining their models for their weather prediction.
So,
Right.
Yeah. You can call a local number. You can look at it on the internet.
so long story short, it should be fixed tomorrow.
That's interesting. Yeah. I guess I would have a comment about when you say the motherboard. I'm hoping that this thing is pretty much standard hardware. But just as motherboards have changed over the 15 years we've had this, and PCs have changed, who knows, who can predict 15 years from now? This may be obsolete hardware.
Well, it was probably standard when we ordered it. By the time we get it, it's already obsolete.
Well, it was the problem is it was standard actually when
They did all the paperwork and got FAA approval for
which
it.
was, God knows how many years ago that was. But
Exactly.
anyway, so,
So my guess is it's already obsolete.
yeah.
Yeah. As
If we're
computers
lucky.
go, yeah.
If we're lucky, we'll get 15 more years.
We have a, what is it, $8,000 a year of contract maintenance on that? Is that
That is
something
in
like
addition to, yes.
that? So they just come out and reset and oil it, or what?
Well, they come out and they do some maintenance, and then they align the lasers and check the barometer readings and make sure it's all within spec and adjust the little tiny micro switches and all that good stuff.
Okay, any other questions on the AWAS? Okay, old business, trailer parking.
I have nothing to report. I was gone most of this month.
Okay, B,
was.
aircraft waste oil.
Nothing to report. I was gone.
So we should take it off the agenda.
Whoa.
No,
Whoa.
no, I don't think so.
Whoa.
I don't think so.
Just threw that out there.
I'll second that.
So, regardless of that, we have nothing to report tonight. Do we?
We do.
Okay.
We got to power down to D.
We got what? No, wait, hold on. Aircraft waste oil,
That's what we're talking
Okay.
about, right?
yeah. Wasn't there some kind of an agreement, arrangement, whatever, going on with the FBO? That they would provide this service? I mean, that was what...
We are having a conversation.
You're still having the conversation?
Yes.
Okay,
That's a long conversation.
okay. So, all right, well,
I was
that,
gone.
the conversation is still ongoing.
It is ongoing.
All right, so no.
That's why I have nothing to report.
It should not be taken off the agenda. Neither should the trailer parking be taken off the agenda.
There's still parking.
And they're still down there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the population went down a few weeks ago.
Did it?
They were all at Reno.
Well,
No.
yeah. But they'll be back.
There's at least two back at the end of my row. And I don't know if I went around, I didn't go around the other corner. Anyway, okay, excuse me, go ahead.
I don't know whether I should move on or not. 8C, Carol Ford activities.
I have a little to report there. She is composing another letter for Anna Caballero, and we're scheduling yet another meeting to go meet with her probably in the next month. For those of you who don't know, I was on vacation for 2 weeks this month, so I wasn't available. So I'll be available next month, and we'll knock that out.
Okay, 8D, flagpole.
Now, this one I have a pretty good report, a big report on. So, our flagpoles was in the right spot when Building 25 was there, however many years ago. Building 25 burned down and kind of left the flagpole abandoned over there all by itself, lonely as it was. One of the issues was it didn't have a light on it. We temporarily solved that by putting a solar-powered battery light up there, which never really worked very well, unless the wind was blowing right in the right direction, so the flag was right over that light, and it was early in the evening when the charge was maximum. So, as part of the memorial picnic area that we are doing, we decided we were going to go ahead and relocate the flagpole as part of that. Kind of clear that area over there to do something with in the future if somebody wanted to, and also get it close enough to a building that we pay the electric bill on that we can put real lights on it. Solve a bunch of problems at one thing. So we decided I decided where I wanted the flagpole. It was incorporated in the design of the picnic area from the start, and we did the excavation when I was gone. Unfortunately, during the excavation, they dug up the fiber optic line to the airport.
That's better than Indian bones.
That's why
Yeah.
no minutes on Monday.
That's why the computers were down for 10 days. So a very costly repair was completed on Tuesday. Computers are back up. We can now proceed with finishing to move the flagpole. And the fiber optic line has been GPS located, so this never happens again. So, in fact, there will be a monument, but on the fence line also.
Monument for the fiber optic.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, that all occurred, but we're past it now, so we're proceeding. We should be removing the base of the flagpole either tomorrow or the next day. We were missing some notes on the USA. We called in to dig that up. PG&E still hadn't been out to tell us what was out there. So we called them back. They were supposed to be out today. I think they were out there today. I think I saw them out there today. So as soon as we get that clearance, we'll go ahead and remove the existing base. And our plan is to just move it over and put it where the new location is. And recycle the 1942 United States Pittsburgh steel, because it's written on the side of it, that holds the flagpole up. So hopefully by the end of next week we have a flagpole back up, and it'll have lights.
Question, what brought this all up about the flagpole? The light?
What brought up moving it?
And it's been there for 50 years. How come all of a sudden it's a problem to move it or something?
Well-
I'm confused.
Because it was by itself.
It was kind of in the way if we ever want to build on that
Oh.
spot. One.
Okay.
Number two, it didn't have a light on it. Number three, it kind of looked a little silly over there all by itself. And
Okay.
number four, when you're mowing, it's kind of in the way. Um, so, all in all, it's going to be in a better spot.
Well, I use it a lot of times I'm coming to the airport to fly, see which way the wind's blowing.
Well, you will be once again doing that probably within a week.
I'll have to use the AWOS again, I guess.
The AWOS will be back tomorrow. So,
Thank you.
and then the picnic area is progressing. I ordered some hardware and stuff for that. I have a Eagle Scout approval process for the planters that go at the bottom of the columns, and my staff will be putting on the guide wires for the shade fabric next week.
Question. You said planters.
Yes,
You're going to put a drip system in to keep things watered? or-
we're putting irrigation in that whole area. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
What would be on the ground? Would it be concrete? Would it be gravel?
where
Where the area is, the whole area.
the area that the picnic tables will be decomposed granite. The area on the outside will be grass. If you go look, we have the topsoil down, so you kind of see where it will be grass and the decomposed granite's in place.
Okay, any other questions on the flagpole?
Yeah, will this be only available for the Boy Scouts, or what's the deal?
The picnic area is available
Yeah.
for anybody.
Anybody? Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it'll have about 12 tables.
Good.
And a couple of Eagle Scouts are doing some of the work to qualify for their Eagle Scout requirement.
Is there a dedication?
There will be when it's complete. I'm thinking spring.
Any other questions on the flagpole? New business, replace Weatherly Building door.
So the Weatherly Building door apparently was getting more difficult to open. So one of our tenants decided to use their car to open it. It now needs to be replaced. I took an item to council. Council appropriated the funds to go ahead and replace those doors. I would think that one was $22,000.
I thought it started at 20 and then
It's up to 22 now.
went up. Okay.
Yeah, so doors will be here in November. I got the notice, so we're going to have to do some concrete work out there to put a track in for the doors. But they'll be stacked doors like are on Leonardo's building, like we put on our old building that our neighbors are at. So they should not be an issue to open in the future.
Okay. 9B, Airport Improvement Plan update.
So we have a little bit of information on this. I'll have much more next time. Unfortunately, I missed the important meeting. I was scheduled to attend it, and I wound up in the hospital. So Dean actually filled in for me and attended it, but we haven't had a chance to get together yet and really go into detail about what was discussed. But long story short, for a few months now, the FAA has been telling us that they weren't going to give us any more grants. Their exact comment was, "We gave you a bunch of money for your runway. You need to be over there and be content." And my argument has always been that's not the way it works. We have your own agency telling us that we need to do things. We qualify for the grants. We need to work on this. I think Dean attended a couple meetings. I think it was about 3 meetings where they just stonewalled us hard. I mean, it was like, no, we're not doing anything. And they kept throwing up roadblocks. So I actually took the opportunity, since I was in Congressman Panetta's office back in Washington, D.C., to have a conversation with Congressman Panetta and his office manager back there about this, and kind of gave him a heads up that when I got back to town, that I would be composing a letter laying the whole thing out, and we were going to be requesting their assistance in addressing this issue with the FAA. Quite literally 6 hours later, the FAA called and scheduled this emergency meeting 48 hours after that. So everything was all scheduled, and then I got sick. I woke up, my lungs were full of fluid. I went in the emergency room, and I couldn't attend the meeting. But apparently, at the meeting, the FAA did a complete 180-degree reversal. And not only are they going to fund what we wanted them to fund, but they're also going to fund what they want us to do. So we're actually looking at a pretty substantial project out of this that should solve pretty much everything we want to do for a while. So next steps are next week I'll be getting together with Kimley Horn. We're going to get the preliminary budget together so that I can make sure we have the appropriate matching funds set aside and ready to go. And then it's a matter of just getting the paperwork done. I know we've already started on the environmental work for the project. It's already all done. It's a couple years old now, and so it needs to be refreshed, and we're in the process of taking care of all that. So all in all, that's actually a good thing. So I'm guessing somebody in Washington made a phone call after I got done talking to him, and things got straightened out. So that's actually really good news.
Good news, yeah.
So the project is going to be the building of the parallel taxiway on the other side to eliminate the cross-runway crossings on Charlie. And in addition to that, we will be realigning the ends of 2, 4, 6, and 3, 1 to correct the runway geometry that's driving San Francisco insane. Because it's non-standard. They changed the geometry about 20 years ago to eliminate lead-in taxiways.
All right,
So-
any other questions?
What were you doing in Washington?
I took my son to show him Washington.
And you were able to get a meeting with Panetta that easy?
Mhm.
That's good.
Mr. Panetta arranged for us to visit the White House and several other things. It was great.
Yeah. Impressed.
All right, items for the next agenda. Which do we want to delete? In
8D.
7, 8, 9. No? What?
I want to delete 8D.
Oh, okay.
We don't get a report on it
I
to
don't
make sure
think
it
so,
got up?
Charlie.
I'm with you.
D or B?
I don't think so.
D.
Oh, but B.
You said D. Oh, B. No.
No, I said D.
Oh, yeah.
Delta?
Delta.
Oh,
You don't want to tell us that it got up okay?
I'll update you when it's necessary. It doesn't need to be on the agenda. So you want 7A through D. Next agenda is October, so we can skip 9A because there'll be nothing there until November. And I'll do 9B.
there's no harm in leaving it. Any other items?
8A?
Yep, A, B, C.
Correct.
Yeah, 8 would be ABC.
The only other thing that may come up is I may have the consultants come in and do a presentation on the ALP at the next meeting. I don't know if they're going to be ready or not. So it'll be the October and November meeting.
Hopefully they will, based on the FAA meeting. They should be pretty ready by the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Next meeting date, October 25th.
That's true and correct.
All All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Did we want this in memory of Jim Laws? Or not?
Yes.
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 Oh, and make, that was, make a motion to adjourn the meeting in,
Memory of.
In memory of
Memory
in-
of,
Jim Laws.
he was my neighbor, years and years.
Was it?
Yeah, they walked up and down the street quite often.
in, make a
Shuffling.
motion to adjourn the meeting in memory of Jim Moore.
Second.
Who was second? Robbie.
Robbie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?